Most people in the gym are not making one or two mistakes. They are making 10, 15, sometimes all 20 of these. And the frustrating part is they have no idea. They are training hard, showing up consistently, and still wondering why their body looks almost identical to how it looked 18 months ago. That is not a motivation problem. That is an execution problem. And in the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 20 of the most common lifting mistakes that are quietly killing your progress, wasting your time, stalling your gains, and in some cases, setting you up for a serious injury. At least a few of these will apply to you. Stay until the end because the ones at the bottom of this list are the ones almost nobody talks about. Let me be straight with you. I am not here to hype you up or sell you a magic program. I am here to give you a clear, logical explanation of what actually drives muscle growth and strength and what is getting in the way of yours. Muscle grows from mechanical tension. Progressive overload drives adaptation. Effort level determines whether that stimulus is strong enough to produce a result. Everything else is secondary. Keep that framework in mind as we go through this list. Mistake number 1. Training without progressive overload. People believe that simply showing up and lifting weights is enough. It is not. If you are lifting the same weights, doing the same reps, and getting roughly the same pump you got 6 months ago, your body has zero reason to change. Progressive overload means you are consistently increasing the demand on your muscles over time. More weight, more reps, shorter rest, slower tempo. Any measurable increase counts. The mistake is training without tracking or intentionally pushing past previous numbers. Think of it this way. If you only ever lift a 10-pound box at work, your body adapts to that and stops changing. The same rule applies in the gym. Start tracking your lifts in a notebook or app. Every session, aim to beat what you did last time, even by 1 rep. That single habit will transform your results faster than any program change. Mistake number 2. Stopping sets too far from failure. This one is connected directly to effort, and most lifters dramatically underestimate how hard they need to train. Research and practical experience both point to the same conclusion. Sets need to be taken close to muscular failure to produce a strong growth stimulus. Stopping 4, 5, or 6 reps from failure on every set means you are not recruiting the highest threshold muscle fibers, the ones with the most growth potential. People stop early because they are uncomfortable or because they've been told to leave plenty in the tank on every single set. That advice has its place during very high-volume training phases, but for the average lifter doing 3 to 4 days per week, you need to be pushing harder. Most of your working sets should end within 1 to 3 reps of failure. Not every rep needs to look perfect, but they should be genuinely challenging. Get comfortable with discomfort. Mistake number 3. Chasing the pump instead of mechanical tension. The pump feels incredible. You look great in the mirror mid-workout, but chasing a pump and actually building muscle are not the same thing. A pump is increased blood flow to the muscle. Mechanical tension is the actual force placed on muscle fibers under load. High-rep, low-weight burnout sets give you a pump. Heavy, controlled, full range of motion sets with proper technique generate mechanical tension. Both have a place, but if your entire program is built around feeling the burn and getting swollen, you are leaving serious gains on the table. The analogy is simple. You can fill a balloon with air and it looks impressive, but there is no substance to it. Train to generate tension in the muscle, not just blood pooling. Use a weight that challenges you through the full range of motion. Control the lowering phase. Feel the stretch. That is tension. That is growth. Now this next one is where most lifters completely go wrong. Mistake number 4. Neglecting the eccentric phase. Every exercise has 2 phases, the lifting phase and the lowering phase. Most people treat the lowering phase as dead time, just letting the weight drop back down so they can do the next rep. This is a massive mistake. The eccentric phase, which is the lowering portion, is where a large portion of the growth stimulus occurs. Muscle damage and high mechanical tension are both elevated during a controlled lowering movement. If you were bench pressing and simply dropping the bar back to your chest, or curling the weight up and then letting it swing down, you are cutting your results roughly in half. A 2 to 3 second lowering phase on most exercises is a simple way to immediately increase your training quality without adding a single kilogram to the bar. Slower lowering also forces better technique and reduces the temptation to use momentum. Mistake number 5. Using momentum instead of muscle. Walk into any gym and watch the bicep curl station. You will almost certainly see someone swinging their torso backward to curl a weight that is too heavy for their actual bicep strength. The ego is getting the curl done. The bicep is not. Momentum removes the load from the target muscle and transfers it to your joints, spine, and surrounding structures. You feel like you are working hard. You are not working the right things hard. The correction is straightforward. Reduce the weight, eliminate body English, and focus on moving the load using only the target muscle. Your numbers will drop temporarily. Your results will improve permanently. Strength built on momentum is not real strength. It is a performance, and your body knows the difference. Mistake number 6. Prioritizing variety over progression. There's a widespread belief that muscles need constant variation to keep growing. This leads people to cycle through dozens of exercises, constantly searching for new movements, never staying on anything long enough to actually get stronger at it. Here is the reality. Your muscles do not care about novelty. They care about tension and progressive overload. If you're getting stronger on the squat, the bench press, and the row week over week, your body will grow. Switching from dumbbells to cables to machines every few weeks sounds smart. It actually just resets your learning curve and prevents you from ever developing real strength on any movement. Pick a core group of 4 to 6 exercises per muscle group across your week. Get brutally strong at them over months. Then, if needed, make small adjustments. Stability drives progress. Novelty is a distraction. If you are doing this, you are slowing your progress more than you realize. Mistake number 7. Poor exercise selection. Not all exercises are equal. Some exercises allow you to load a muscle through a long range of motion under significant resistance. Others are awkward, unstable, or simply not well suited to the human body's structure. The mistake is selecting exercises based on what looks impressive or what is trending, rather than what actually delivers high tension to the target muscle. For example, a Bulgarian split squat, when done correctly, loads the quad and glute through a large range of motion. A leg extension also works the quad, but is limited in the tension it can generate with heavy loads. Both have value, but a program built entirely around isolation machines while ignoring compound movements is going to deliver mediocre results. Select exercises where you can feel the target muscle working, load it progressively, and perform it safely with good technique. Mistake number 8. Ignoring weak points in your technique. Most people have a handful of technique issues they are aware of, but never actually fix. Maybe their lower back rounds at the bottom of a squat. Maybe they flare their elbows on the bench press. Maybe their knees cave on deadlifts. These are not minor aesthetic issues. They are structural weaknesses that both reduce the training stimulus and increase injury risk over time. The reason people ignore them is that fixing them requires dropping weight and starting from a slower, more deliberate pace. That feels like going backward. It is actually the only path forward. Record yourself training. Identify the point where your technique breaks down. That is your real working weight for that exercise. Train there until the pattern is clean, then progressively load it. Technique is not separate from performance. It is the foundation of it. Mistake number 9. Skipping the full range of motion. Partial reps have their place in advanced training protocols, but using a limited range of motion because the full range is harder or because you can use more weight is a mistake that reduces both the training stimulus and the long-term health of your joints. Muscles grow most effectively when they are loaded through their full working range, particularly at the stretched position. A squat that stops halfway down looks like a squat, but trains like a quarter movement. A dumbbell press that never reaches the bottom of the range misses the chest stretch entirely. Full range of motion also maintains joint health and flexibility over time. Go through the complete movement. Use a weight that allows you to do so with control. If you cannot reach full range, the weight is too heavy. This one might surprise you. Mistake number 10. Overcomplicating your program. The fitness industry profits from complexity. Programs with 12 different training splits, techniques borrowed from multiple methodologies, specialized loading schemes for each muscle group. They look comprehensive. They are usually overwhelming and counterproductive. The lifters who make the most consistent progress year over year are typically doing the least complicated things. A handful of good exercises, trained consistently, with progressive overload, close to failure, with adequate recovery. Complexity is often a form of procrastination. It gives the illusion of optimization without requiring the uncomfortable work of actually training hard and staying consistent for years. Simplify your program. Train consistently. Eat enough protein. Sleep well. Do that for 12 months before you start worrying about advanced techniques. Mistake number 11. Training too many days per week. More training is not always better training. Many lifters, once they become motivated, jump to 6 or 7 sessions per week thinking that more volume means more results. What actually happens is that recovery becomes insufficient, performance in each session drops, and the quality of the stimulus goes down across the board. 3 to 5 well-structured sessions per week where you actually recover between them and perform at a high level will always outperform 6 or 7 mediocre sessions where you are chronically fatigued. Recovery is when muscle growth occurs. The gym session is the trigger. If you are perpetually sore, consistently tired, and not making strength gains, you are almost certainly overreaching. Pull back, train less, recover more. Progress will follow. Now, this next one is where most lifters completely go wrong. Mistake number 12. Neglecting sleep. This is the most underrated recovery tool available to every single person reading this, and it costs nothing. Sleep is when growth hormone is released. It is when muscle tissue repairs. It is when the nervous system recovers from the demands of heavy training. Consistently sleeping 5 or 6 hours per night while trying to build muscle is like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. You are doing the work, but the adaptation cannot take place. 7 to 9 hours per night is not a luxury for serious lifters. It is a non-negotiable part of the process. No supplement, no training protocol, and no diet strategy will compensate for chronic sleep deprivation. If your schedule does not currently allow for adequate sleep, fixing that is a higher priority than optimizing your training split. Now, this next one is where most lifters completely go wrong. Mistake number 13. Not eating enough protein. Protein is the raw material your body uses to build and repair muscle tissue. If you are not consuming enough of it, your body cannot optimally recover from training and cannot build new muscle at the rate your effort deserves. The general recommendation of around 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day is well supported and practical for most people engaged in regular resistance training. The mistake is assuming that simply eating reasonably well is enough without actually knowing your numbers. Many lifters are consistently undereating protein by a significant margin and wondering why their physique is not changing despite hard training. Track your intake for 1 week. You will likely find the gap. Fix it before adjusting anything else. Mistake number 14. Neglecting nutrition timing around training. Total daily protein and calorie intake matters most, but training nutrition is not completely irrelevant. Training in a fully fasted state, particularly early in the morning after a poor night's sleep, can reduce performance and limit the training stimulus you are able to generate. Having a meal with protein and carbohydrates in the 2 to 3 hours before your session ensures your energy levels and muscle protein synthesis are optimized for the work ahead. Post-workout nutrition matters as well, though the window is less narrow than previously believed. The practical take: do not overthink this, but do not ignore it either. Eat a solid meal before training. Eat a solid meal with protein afterward. Let total daily intake do the heavy lifting. Mistake number 15. Neglecting compound movements. Isolation work has value, but building your program primarily around isolation exercises while avoiding heavy compound movements is one of the slowest paths to physical development. Compound movements, squats, deadlifts, rows, presses, pull-ups, train multiple muscle groups simultaneously, allow for the highest absolute loading, and produce a greater hormonal and systemic response than isolation work alone. A well-designed program has compound movements as its foundation, with isolation exercises used to address specific weaknesses or to add volume to lagging muscles. If you are spending most of your gym time on cable crossovers and leg extensions while avoiding squats and rows because they are harder, that is exactly the comfort-seeking behavior that keeps progress stalled. Mistake number 16. Inconsistent training attendance. This one should go without saying, but it has to be on the list because it is genuinely one of the biggest factors separating people who transform their physique from those who do not. Missing 2 sessions per week consistently means you are completing roughly 60% of your intended training volume over the course of a year. That is 40% of your potential stimulus just gone. No program is good enough to compensate for poor attendance. Consistency over months and years is the mechanism that drives long-term physique change. It is not exciting to say that, but it is true. Build a schedule you can actually adhere to. 3 sessions per week done consistently for 2 years will produce better results than 6 sessions per week done inconsistently. This one might surprise you. Mistake number 17. Relying on soreness as a measure of progress. Muscle soreness, or delayed onset muscle soreness, is not a reliable indicator of an effective training session. It signals that you created some degree of muscle damage or performed an unfamiliar movement pattern. That is it. You can have an extremely effective training session and feel very little soreness the next day if your body is well adapted to the movements you used. Conversely, you can try a completely new exercise for the first time and be devastated by soreness without having delivered an especially high-quality growth stimulus. Chasing soreness leads to unnecessary exercise variation, overuse of eccentric heavy novelty movements, and chronic fatigue. Measure progress by performance. Are you lifting more weight, more reps, recovering faster? That is meaningful data. Soreness is not. Mistake number 18. Not drinking enough water. Dehydration impairs strength, endurance, focus, and recovery. Even mild dehydration, 2% of body weight, has been shown to meaningfully reduce training performance. Your muscles are approximately 75% water. Connective tissue requires hydration to maintain integrity and cushion joints under load. Yet many lifters walk into the gym already mildly dehydrated from insufficient daily intake and wonder why their performance feels flat. The correction is not complicated. Drink consistently throughout the day. Aim for a minimum of 2 to 3 liters of water per day depending on your size, activity level, and environment. More if you sweat heavily during training. This is one of the lowest effort, highest return habits you can build. Mistake number 19. Ignoring warm-up and activation. Walking straight from the car to a heavy working set is a mistake that accumulates over time. Cold muscles and unprepared joints move less efficiently, generate less force, and are more susceptible to strains and injuries. A proper warm-up is not 10 minutes on the treadmill followed by static stretching. It is a progressive ramp-up of the movement you are about to perform. Start with lighter sets of the exercise itself. Increase the load progressively across 3 to 5 warm-up sets before reaching your working weight. This prepares the nervous system, lubricates the joints, and reinforces the movement pattern. It also allows you to identify any discomfort before you are under heavy load. 5 to 10 minutes of targeted warm-up pays dividends in both performance and injury prevention. Mistake number 20. Waiting until you are ready. The final mistake is the most important one on this list. waiting for the perfect program, the right time, the ideal circumstances, or a deeper understanding before committing fully to your training. The people who make the best progress are not the people with the most knowledge. They are the people who execute consistently, learn as they go, and make adjustments based on real feedback from real training. You will never have a perfect plan. You will never eliminate all mistakes before you start. Action builds the feedback loop that refines action. Start, train hard, track your results, adjust based on what you see. Repeat that for 12, 24, 36 months. That is how physiques are built. To bring this together, the mistakes on this list fall into 3 categories: poor execution, poor programming decisions, and poor recovery habits. Correcting even half of them will produce a noticeable shift in your results within weeks. The gym rewards precision, consistency, and patience more than any special technique or program ever will. Apply what you have learned here, train with real intention, and the results will follow. If this helped you, subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise and gives you exactly what you need to keep improving.